So we are recording.
Hi, Felicia.
What is she doing there?
She's just looking at me over her butt.
I mean...
And now she's back down.
All right.
I just wanted acknowledgement.
Cats.
Gato.
Okay.
Gato and water buffalo.
Is the water buffalo going to be picked up on mic, I wonder?
I guess we'll find out.
I guess we will. Well, I'm Ash.
I'm Libby.
And this is episode 1 of our podcast segment.
Oh no.
2 messes from Texas.
We out here
and
doing our best.
Yeah. I think we were really excited to start this.
Agreed.
I know that it's one episode I've been excited to film, so
that's good.
I'm glad we're here and we're finally doing it.
Me too.
So I think for today's agenda, we definitely wanted to, we mentioned in our first video that we were gonna give a little bit more info on our history.
Yeah.
With Eastern music. Did you want to?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind starting.
Because I started in the video. So
that's fine. That's fine. So I've listened to Eastern music dating back to when I was a preteen and a younger teenager, listening to anime openings, endings, and then OSTs. Mm-hmm. That's how I started getting into Eastern music. I mean, to this day, I still have Nujabe's R.I.P. on my rotation for music. So I still listen to a lot of the music I found at that age that really resonated with me. Mm-hmm. And, this dates us, but AMVs, that was another way I found a lot of this content. Oh my God. What a time in YouTube history and internet history. AMVs, if you know, you know. In my defense, it was the mid-2000s. Yeah. So, things come in eras. It's cool. Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I always grew up listening to a genre blend of music. I listened to chopped and screwed hip-hop, 80s new wave, 80s rap, 80s hip-hop.
Yeah.
All genres of rock, EDM, like so many different genres. I've always listened to a lot of different music, and that's kind of just a grab bag of different things, and I just like what I like. Mm-hmm. And I come from a family who loves listening to music and who loves showing each other music, so that's my kind of background with it. Ashley and I met in high school, and we actually met over music.
Yes, we did.
Ashley had a drawing for the symbol of Kilhannah.
Yep.
And we were put together randomly, like in the first couple weeks of school, together in a project for English. And I saw the symbol, and I was like, oh my God, is that Kilhannah? I know that band. No one knows that band. And we started talking about music. That's how we hit it off. So music is integral to our relationship. That's how we found each other. It's also just something that really resonates with us, as I'm sure it does with a lot of people. Music is there through every high and low spot of your life and everything that can fall in between.
Yeah.
And, even whenever you come out of those times, those songs and those times are going to be linked to that type of music, and it's still, it just becomes integral to your life. I don't know what else to say about it, except music is just another way humans identify that we're alive.
Yeah.
And any concepts we want to talk about in the midst of being alive.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with that. For me, we mentioned in the video that, I'd been in the Eastern music world for about 20 years now. And I'll sidebar this, we'll use the term frequently, Eastern music. Mm-hmm. Because we have, I say we, because, Libby mentioned anime and Japanese influence as well. We have a deep love for more than just Korean music.
Correct.
And while K-pop itself includes more than just pop music,
Correct.
which is something we'll dive into a little more later on
Right.
in this segment, not today's episode, but in future episodes.
Yeah.
It doesn't cover Japanese and Chinese music.
Correct. Yeah.
So instead of wasting our breath and just saying J-pop, K-pop, C-pop, like
and all genres listed there within. Like,
correct.
That's a mouthful.
Right, and over and over to be inclusive, and we want to make sure everybody is mentioned. We just will say Eastern music to cover all bases. But anyway, to get back on target, I began my journey with Eastern music back in around 2002, 2003. I experienced a life event that was changing, to say the least, and I learned a lot about who I was, but I also leaned into hobbies and into into just the things that make us happy, no matter how maybe childish or ridiculous they seem to adults or into others that may judge more quickly, such as, anime and things of that nature.
Right.
And so I always was interested in Asian culture and media, and as a huge fan of anime, and the art and design and music were always my favorite aspects of it. I was always more in tune with those things. And so I'm sure it's no real shock to anybody who knows me, but once I found the music that I was kind of falling in love with, during ending and opening themes, I did research, and I kind of fell down a rabbit hole that I never really got out of.
Right.
And, my journey kind of got quiet for a little while, since I kept my enjoyment and my love for Eastern music to myself, primarily out of concern for how I'd be perceived, and I didn't want to be bullied and made fun of by my peers in high school or middle school.
Right.
In middle school, I was a little more out with that because I did have a small little community of people that I could relate to that were interested in the same things as I was.
Yeah.
But by the time I got older, I stopped caring and began to be more open with my friends' family, my husband. I just didn't care anymore. Yeah. So I just began to kind of show it and be proud of the kind of music that I was essentially becoming an expert on.
Right.
And so now it's blossomed and it's turned into a really beautiful experience for me, since I fully embraced it.
Yeah.
And it brings me true happiness and comfort, and it's a really great thing that's happened because it's just really brought me to some awesome people.
Yeah.
I've managed to have a really stable community around it, and there's not really, once we've weeded out some toxicity,
yes,
it's been pretty great.
I agree, and I think there's something about coming back to interests that you fell in love with as a younger person when you're an adult.
Yeah.
Because there is that lens of not caring. Even as a teenager,
right,
who I tried very, very hard not to care what other people thought, and I tried really hard to just stay true to myself and walk to the beat of my own drum. High school still sucks. You still have people and your peers, and people will mock you for stuff that you really like just to mock you, just because they have their own things they're going through.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. I'm no longer in that energy level or mental headspace, so it's cool, but definitely coming back to things as an adult with a different perspective and knowing how to survive in the real world, and that, hey, in the real world, no one knows what they're doing, and everyone is looking for ways to escape and ways to distract themselves and find enjoyment in their life in between the rat race that we live in currently. And who cares? If people can get so obsessed over things like football and get like people's jersey numbers or their wins tattooed on them and stuff like that, like why? And I'm not dissing those things. I'm glad it makes you happy.
Right.
Sports is definitely something a lot of people really like.
Yeah.
So why does it matter for other interests?
Right.
Why are certain interests just very accepted in our society as key pinnacles to enjoyment, and then others are mocked? And I'm sure we'll talk more about that later, but I've definitely hit a level of I really don't give a shit anymore.
Yep.
I don't care.
Yep.
You don't have to get it. You can just it costs $0 to shut up.
Exactly. To just move on.
Yeah.
If it's not your thing, it's not your thing.
$0 to mind your business.
Agreed. Oh, and that's another thing I guess we should have maybe mentioned a little earlier. Probably some kind of parental advisory.
Oh. Yeah.
While we do our best to keep it as PG on our video channels as possible, the podcast we are going to be a little more comfortable and casual. So, we're just going to be chilling here and having a conversation with y'all.
That's why it's called Two Messes from Texas, not two stand-up citizens from Texas.
So, we just want to make sure that you guys are aware of such a thing. But yeah, so going back to our history a little bit, I do want to ask you, I'm sure I know, perhaps, what was your first artist and what was your first album?
Honestly, so when I was younger, I never had the money set aside to be able to buy albums or anything like that when I was younger. Hence, LimeWire.
Yikes. Okay, so in terms of Eastern music.
So, my first album I got was actually 2021 for any Eastern artists. That was my first album, and I wrote it down because I know I will not remember. Yeah, my first album was Solar's Spit It Out solo.
Was
God
it?
Seven's Die and Wavy's Over the Moon. Those three came in at the same time. And yeah, those were that was my first Eastern album because I could never afford it prior. And then when I could afford it, I just didn't like it enough to justify me buying it. And I'm the kind of person where I'm very thrifty for certain things, and if I don't need it, I don't buy it for myself. I don't buy things that I want generally. I'm working on it, but that's why those were my first albums.
Yeah. Well, and also I think, and maybe this is something we'll mention a little bit later on in the segment of existing, but I think also the difference between owning, especially nowadays, owning a physical CD for a Western artist and owning a physical CD for an Eastern artist are entirely different experiences.
Correct. Absolutely correct, which is the only reason why I consistently still purchase Eastern albums because I still listen to Western music all the time. I listen to both interchangeably.
I don't.
My music palette is all over the place, and I love it being that way. But I don't buy physical albums for Western artists with few exceptions.
Correct.
And so I've only been buying Eastern albums because they actually have content in the albums that I want. Otherwise, I can buy the album digitally and then just burn a CD. Which is how I grew up doing it, so I know that's like dinosaur technology. That's how I've been doing it for years.
It works.
Exactly.
And there's something charming about it, I think. There's something old school, nostalgic, mixtapey, and charming about it.
Yeah, I mean, at least I'm not doing cassette tapes, right?
Right. And so
burning it onto a Walkman or something like.
Would you say that your first artist was Stray Kids? Like your first real artist?
Yes, and shortly hedged before them was BTS, but Stray Kids I definitely fell more in love with quicker versus BTS, because BTS was kind of that was my intro to everything. So BTS was like
So you would say BTS, you would credit them with being your first actual Eastern
I
artist.
would, because they were the first ones that I started. You showed me them a lot. You showed me a lot of content of theirs, I should say.
Yes, I did.
And then as I was getting more and more used to it and understanding the rhythm of how these things work, I started really actually paying attention to the music I was listening to and liking it. Stray Kids was another one that immediately jumped out at me. Levanter and Double Knot.
Yeah.
Well, actually, first it was Double Knot, and then a couple weeks later it was Levanter, because you got me into them around October 2019. Well. And
the silence. Yes.
Anyways,
I did. The timing was pretty great there, but
hey, no regrets. No regrets.
Yeah.
They were the other ones I dived into, and the other ones that I remember vividly for you showing me their content and it jumping out at me was Monsta X. With like Love Killa and Jealousy, of course.
Jealousy,
but great. Also the entire All About Love English album that definitely jump started me paying attention to them.
Gotcha.
And I can't believe it's 2022, because I feel like when I'm talking about these things, I'm like, yeah, just a couple months ago.
Right.
Like 2019. That's
so long ago
2 years ago.
Yeah. Wait, 2019?
Yeah. 2020, 2021. Are you kidding me?
I was going to say, that is not.
Okay, well, 2 years solid, because October 2019,
well, fair.
You know, in terms of that, but holy cannoli.
I was going to say, that's not 2 years.
2.5 years. Yeah. Going on 3 years. See?
Time
means nothing. Time's a flat circle. Whatever.
For me, I remember fondly, and I will always have a special place in my heart for my first artists. But they were really, actually, it was 2 of them, and they were soloists. And maybe this is where my deep love of soloists come from.
Yeah.
But they were Seven and Boa.
Oh, I remember you talking about Boa recently.
Yeah, and I still love Boa. I still buy her albums. I love her tremendously. And Seven, he's kind of fallen off the face of the earth a little bit, but in my opinion, he's still a phenomenal artist. And very closely after, I followed DBSK/TVXQ.
Yeah.
But that was when they were the full group, and then B/Rain. So
my man.
Yeah, so not long after that, my first physical album was. It arrived around the same time, and of course back then it was really hard to get Eastern music albums.
Right.
For a Western fan.
Right.
They were very expensive.
Yeah, you were in the trenches.
Yeah. They were very expensive, and they, of course, back then were only jewel cases.
Yep.
But to have, and I collected CDs back then. Right. So I had a very large.
I remember you having a lot of CDs.
I did. I had hundreds.
I remember that.
I had hundreds. I actually lost that collection at Harvey.
I was going to ask you about that at some point. What it's like as a fan losing such a big collection to a natural disaster. Like,
heartbreaking.
I mean, and we should probably circle back around to this at some point, but what do you do? Like, how do you protect your collection from, like, fire or calamity?
Yeah. I mean, definitely happy to put a pin in that and consider that, because, yeah, that was a blow.
No kidding.
That was a blow.
I mean, it's already traumatic enough living through a natural disaster like that and losing your car, losing your clothes.
We lost everything.
Your home, losing so much. Yeah. And then on top of it, something that you've been curating since you were young that has a lot of emotional connection and 100%. Sentimental value to it.
100%.
That also was just hard to acquire.
It was so hard. And, yeah,
damn you, Harvey.
Yeah, Harvey fucked it all up.
Harvey was that was something else.
It was truly like a demon storm.
I don't know what else to say other than that shit was on crack. That storm was on freaking crack.
It really was.
Park above Houston and just dump torrential rain.
Did not move for
while
shit.
Accumulating more rain.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a nightmare. Wow. But in that collection was Seven's Must Listen, which to this day is one of my top albums of my lifetime. That album is so good. It's a very R&B influenced album. It's very smooth. His vocals are so smooth. It's so good. And then his Japanese release, which was called Hikari. And on that one had a Crazy on it, which was such like it was like a banger. And I remember I had loved his music for years at that point when I had those albums, and I begged Mom for that to come in for like a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
And it was, I was stoked that she said yes, and then I got them. And so I was even more excited to have a Korean album and a physical Japanese album. Like, I had two of them. And there was no stunning packaging. There was no inclusions. You know, it was just the track listing.
Just me, my music, and the frickin' universe.
Yeah, man. Like, some lower quality photos in the lyric book. You know, it wasn't anything hugely substantial. You know, but I played the hell out of those CDs.
Right.
I had a big ass boombox in my room, and you bet I blasted it, sang horribly and probably not accurate lyrics, but I loved the hell out of those albums.
Yeah.
And I played them often and loudly.
I can imagine your mom downstairs just hearing it and just shaking her head.
Yeah, she was not enjoying it, I'm sure. She was just like, oh, there goes Ashley with that music of hers again. Like,
hey, but that's a universal thing between parents and teenagers.
Yeah.
I mean, all my cousins were listening to, like, satanic heavy metal. Like, I mean, in terms of weighing it out, like, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure she was like, at least she's not out doing drugs. Like, you know what I mean?
She's not doing drugs. She is upstairs listening to some music I don't understand, but that's okay.
I don't understand it. She doesn't understand it. Like, it's fine. Everyone is fine.
The vibe check.
So, yeah. But it was great. It definitely made me, especially now that I'm older and I can remember that, it makes me love and cherish those artists and those albums even more.
Well, that's understandable.
And you better believe one of the first things that I did was when I saw that Seven's Must Listen was available to purchase, I hunted it down and I rebought it.
Of course.
So it is now back safely in my collection.
That's good.
Where it should be.
That is good.
So another thing we wanted to kind of touch on in this first episode is kind of introducing what this podcast segment is going to be.
Yeah.
So we will upload one of these episodes of Two Messes from Texas once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be on our YouTube channel right now.
Yeah.
No plans of going to, podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or...
I mean, unless we get sponsored somehow.
I mean...
Like, if you want to pay me somehow for this, sure.
There's no plans of us doing that
God.
now, so keep checking us out on YouTube if that's what you're interested in. But it's going to be obviously our more candid chats relating to Eastern music. Occasionally we will have some more intense ones relating to things that could be, or definitely might be, considered more controversial in Eastern music world.
But we're mostly adults, and if you're listening and you're not an adult, you're going to have to approach it like an adult. I don't know what else to say.
That's very true. But we feel like, kind of especially stemming off of what Libby just said, that there are discussions that need to happen.
Yeah.
And they do happen.
Right.
All the time.
The thing is, yeah, it's just not... There's so many fans of this stuff. The conversation's going to happen over and over. It's not like anyone's ever going to be caught up on any one thing. I mean, we still have discussions with people that we've been talking to for years with this music where certain terms were like, actually, that's kind of...
Not okay.
Not okay to say. And it's because we see certain terms or phrases all the time used online, and a lot of people don't necessarily have context for what those phrases can mean, especially if you're a Western fan diving into it and you don't know the connotation that that phrase has in the, you know, Korean world, for example. Like, it's going to happen. There's faux pas that we're all going to commit or have us do, and so it's how do we learn from those? Why are these things bothersome for other people? Like, let's try and have some empathy and understanding with where these terms are hurtful or where they're coming from or why these things bother others, and then at the end of the day you can decide whether or not it bothers you too, or if you care that it bothers others. But a lot of these things are not also on me, for example, to reclaim. So my baseline is going to be, well, what bothers the person who this is discussing? Like, if the target audience that this is about is bothered by that phrase, I'm not going to use it. Just out of respect for them. We can discuss what it means and we can try and unpack it, but I'm still going to just cost $0 to shut up. That's all. Like,
exactly. And I think our whole thing, especially with having these conversations, is it's not necessarily about pointing the finger and saying who's right or wrong. Though sometimes it could be, depending on the situation. It, I think, is more just about having that conversation.
I agree. Because a lot of people, you know, just because this is the one that's on the forefront of my mind, Nugu. People... I see that term online all the time, talking about newer groups, but using it can be very disrespectful to a group because you're basically saying they haven't amounted to anything. Or done anything worth discussing. And it's like, this group has an album out. Why are you calling them a Nugu if they did the work? They're on award shows right now. Even if they haven't had a secured win, it still is rude. And I didn't realize that was rude until recently, which is why it's on the forefront of my mind. I never even said it just because I think I sound stupid when I say Nugu with my accent, my voice, so I don't say it out loud. But I didn't know that would bother people. And then when you explained it to me, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense why it bothers people. If I worked my butt off for years and I debut as a trainee and I put out music and then I see these people who are sitting on their couch calling me a Nugu, I'd be like, screw you.
And like putting that in perspective, to use this example, it's like, say this group technically debuted 2 years ago, but they're classified as a Nugu because they didn't get immediate success or they didn't get the success they wanted within their first year. But say a group that hasn't even technically debuted yet is more successful than them because they maybe are created from a group that previously disbanded, and they're more popular. They're not a Nugu because maybe they already kind of have a music show win kind of in the bag when they do debut, or maybe they have, like, when they debut and they have their first single out or their first album out, they hit #1 on iTunes, or they hit whatever. They hit these benchmarks, these things that kind of get them out of that Nugu status. That's very insulting to the group that's sat there working really hard. Not to say that we shouldn't consider groups that have successes. We shouldn't reward their successes. But that also doesn't mean we should put others down
Right.
to bring up a success for another group.
Exactly.
Is the point.
And I think also with how saturated this industry especially is becoming over the past couple years.
Right. Exactly.
And saturated doesn't mean bad. It just means that it's very selective. It's very hard to qualify.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, anyone that you're seeing debut, even if they don't have a good, in your opinion, debut song or debut concept, it doesn't mean that they aren't talented.
Right.
If you're going to make it through the ringer of being able to get to that stage to make music and have your face and your body for dancing and everything be put out there open for public consumption,
right,
you have to have some talent to back it up.
Right. And I just feel personally, obviously this is going to be all of our, this is our individual opinion, not to say anybody's, again, right or wrong. This is just our perspective on things. The public opinion, the public, criticisms are hard enough to deal with, right?
Correct, yeah.
So why make things harder when you can instead offer positive criticism or helpful criticism? Why always form things in a negative way?
I agree.
That's where I'm coming from.
I agree. And I think a lot of that, and I know for sure we are going to have a entire podcast at least about this. There's probably going to be a series about this, to be honest. What makes a fan? What constitutes a fan?
Right.
Sometimes people think that in order to be a fan of a certain group or even a certain type of music, it means that you have to put down others, or you have to compare and criticize those comparisons. Guess what? You're allowed to like multiple flavors.
You
people.
are.
Like, you don't have to insult or tear down anyone to build up anyone else that you think deserves your support.
Correct. Yeah. Agreed.
And I think a lot of fans, because they are so consistently trying to defend their faves and trying to protect, in their opinion, their faves from criticisms that they think are unwarranted, unintentionally or intentionally, you're doing that same thing but to other people. It's like, you're the villain in those people's stories now.
Exactly. The cycle never ends.
Exactly. And hey, why don't we all just pay $0 to be quiet and just enjoy the fact that we get all this awesome content and all this awesome music?
Right.
Support what you want to support. If you don't like it, don't tune in and just move on.
Yeah. And
why would I want to dedicate my time to listening to things I don't like or watching things I don't like?
Right. And your faves are your faves and friends. And so why can't we all just be friends the way your faves want us to be?
Exactly.
But this has kind of been a little bit of a sample.
Yes, we'll revisit this.
Of what you'll get with our more intense chats.
Right.
But our normal episodes will be what you're about to experience, which is going to be more lighthearted, a little bit more of a catch up with each other, and hopefully with y'all. We'd love to get some feedback and interaction with y'all.
I would love to hear different things that you've heard over the past month that you want us to check out, or you think is a good topic for discussion.
Yeah, or
we are open to constructive feedback.
Absolutely. And things that y'all maybe listened to over the past month that y'all really loved, because that's what we're going to be talking about in our normal chats, which is, working on what the previous month had to offer, comebacks and content wise.
Yeah.
Because we are huge fans of the content that the groups put out for us, and not just music, but variety wise, we love all of that. So we dive into it all. So
agreed.
We will have this episode and all future two Messes from Texas, pardon the slur there, uploaded.
We're from Texas.
Will be uploaded the first Wednesday of each month, or the following Wednesday, depending on when the month lands. So basically within the first 2 weeks of each month, as the year allows. So be prepared for those.
Who is time?
Who is time? What is time? So yeah, that's the kind of general layout, ideal layout that we're going to be following with this one.
Yeah.
We hope you guys are excited to tune in to these, because I think we're going to have fun making them.
Agreed. Oh, I already know which episodes are going to be so messy, not because of what we're saying, but more messy with our reactions to things and just...
Oh, yeah.
Like us being messes. I don't mean like we're going to be...
Just like human messes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying we're going to be messy in terms of dissing people. I mean more falling over stuff.
So, I think next up is Blog Corner.
Yes.
So, I'm sure you guys are absolutely sick and disgusted and tired.
We don't care. I'm just kidding. I mean, I do care how you think, but the blog is also something that we have fun with, so we're going to keep doing it.
Yes.
Yay.
So, we have a blog of the same name, Starland. But I'm sure y'all are sick of us mentioning it, but here we are doing it again, like Libby said. We have recently updated the front page, especially by the time this episode comes out. It will have gone through another update.
Oh, true.
And so it makes me really happy to look at it, honestly, because I'm really enjoying it and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I need to do... I've been trying to figure out what music video I wanted to do next for lighting, and I haven't figured that out yet, because one, there's a lot of videos I really like in general.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just find a video I like and then be like, okay, well, here's what I like about it lighting wise. No, I want to talk about something that already is very interesting because of the lighting, and I just happen to like the video for it. Like Frost. Yeah. They did a lot of stuff with that lighting, and I was very excited to write about that. So I want another type of video and a caliber where they're doing a lot of fun things.
Yeah.
With their lighting and with their sets.
Is that going to be a blog post?
Yes, I just don't know which video it's going to be yet. So
that's something to look forward to.
More to come.
So they look forward to.
Yeah, correct. It's a surprise. It's going to be a surprise for me too on what video it is, but...
We have mostly gone back to a regularly scheduled programming with uploads since Libby and I contracted and recovered from COVID. So
we had COVID over Christmas and New Year's.
We sure did.
That was so much fun. And then it took all of January to recover.
It was a long battle, but we finally did it.
Hey, you know what? It worked.
It did.
It worked. We were on FaceTime together for New Year's Eve talking about Korean music.
Yeah, shock and surprise to nobody.
Starting the year off special. Got COVID, talking about Korean artists, watching fireworks. Big bang boom.
Big bang boom. We have our other lovely third B, who I'm sure y'all will get to meet at some point soon. Yes. She has...
We're forcing it. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, you will eventually meet her. She has lovingly produced more quizzes for y'all,
which I love.
And
I am a quiz hoe.
And it's a great quiz, and has provided a MBTI.
Yeah. MBTI.
Yeah. Like cute little post for y'all to go check out. And
I choose to believe every single connection was perfect. And
there you go.
Only God can tell me otherwise.
There you go.
And that's if I meet these people and we see how much I rub them the wrong way. Irritate them.
Well, with the post that B provided, you can type in your MBTI and you can compare it against your faves and see how horrible of a match you'd be.
I love also that there's no, like, bad. It's disaster.
It's just, like, pure disaster. Shit show.
Don't even look at this person. Don't even sneeze in their direction.
Yeah, no.
They hate you. They think you're terrible.
Restraining order. Awful. Do not recommend.
They're going to throw a brick at you if they see you. Yeah. Just don't even make eye contact.
Yeah, not great.
So funny.
And last thing on Blog Corner, we just wanted to recommend that you sign up for being a Galaxy.
Yes.
Which is our little membership program on the blog. It is currently free to do so.
Yes.
And we don't know how long it'll stay free, but recommend that y'all do that. But okay, so that's it. Moving on, I think, to the real meat of the show and why we're really here. Favorite content?
Yeah, I will say I was definitely, in my opinion, personally spoiled for the sheer reason that even though my February has been all over the place, so I truly have not consumed as much content as I normally do. And knowing that we were starting this channel and we were going to do reactions, I stopped watching a lot of things.
Right.
Just in case we were going to react to them.
Right.
So I could have a candid response. But I will say, I was gifted by the universe. The Stray Kids Chocolate Factory was on my birthday.
Oh, yes.
So the Call Me Baby cover, goodbye.
Ascended.
Ascended. She's gone, Your Honor. She was so happy that this happened.
Didn't you also mention the Silent Cry choreo?
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Silent Cry went from a sad song to a slow twerk song.
Anthem track.
Anthems. A sad twerk song. But you know what? It's awesome. I love the choreo. I can't wait to see what other choreo surprises are going to happen with the tour that's coming up, because they did announce on Step Out 2022 that there was going to be a tour, and I can't wait to see what other choreo surprises we have. Ordinary also dropped on my birthday, and I feel like I manifested a lot of the visual content that came out, so you're all welcome. That was because of me, and only Stray Kids can say otherwise, so go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong. Directly, Stray Kids.
Did you have any thoughts or feelings about the Stray Kids Ordinary full trailer?
For the full trailer, I'm going to, let's be real candid about that.
Yeah.
We just watched it. We actually waited.
At the time of filming, we just watched it.
At the time of filming, we just watched it. I waited to watch it until I came over here.
Yeah.
We thought the teaser was definitely going to be more Alice in Wonderland vibes.
Definitely.
So, in terms of what I built it up in my head with, I'm a little disappointed, not because of anything on their end, but more I fell in love with a totally different idea of how it was going to go versus what they actually had planned.
Same.
But it doesn't mean that I'm disappointed by it. Actually, there was a lot of really interesting lighting shots in there too. So I probably will do a lighting video at some point on Ordinary if it delivers the way that I'm wanting. Yeah. But I won't wait for that to be my next blog post. We'll have something else in between. I just need to figure it out. But yeah, I really liked it. I can't wait to see more of this concept. I am curious as to why they keep mentioning zombies, so I think that's a spoiler. Is there a song that's going to be called Zombie? Or are they going to have a music video with zombies? Because they keep mentioning it. They keep saying, just little throwaway comments if stays were zombies. Why the hell are you mentioning zombies so frequently? I thought at first it was only because of the zombie cover.
Yeah.
That Han did.
Han and Innie?
Yeah, I think.
Or was it
Sungmin who did it. So,
I was it's day 6. It's gotta be Sungmin.
Right, I know. Duh. That was stupid to think otherwise. So I thought it was just because of the cover at first, but they keep mentioning zombies, and now Zombies in time, they keep mentioning.
And we saw the clocks. So that's the time reference.
And then the ticking in the background whenever he's flicking the lock at the same time.
Well, to me, that sounds less of a ticking. That sounds more like a Zippo effect.
It does sound like that. I just thought that they were going to have something with time for a while now, because they've been talking about time for...
Well, remember they have the clock choreo in Backdoor.
Yeah, they do.
So time is constantly referenced in their videos.
Who is time?
We don't know her.
Who is time? A series of questions.
True.
But yeah, that's what I thought of the trailer. Okay. I haven't whatever English is. I've not seen too many other things over the past month in terms of variety show content, the way that I normally watch things. I've seen... another Going 17 that dropped, and I really want to watch it. My own personal life and then starting the blog, I didn't know what was going to happen, so I just paused on everything, knowing I can catch up at some point.
For sure. Yeah, I'm so happy that Gose is back. Going 17, I miss them every time they go on their break. I will never get over how stupid and wonderful.
We truly love crackheads.
Yes, we do. How stupid and wonderful Going 17 is. I think I was hopeful for a better episode 1.
Okay.
But then again, I can't say I'm too shocked because they also need time to. I like that we get to see them kind of chill.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm mad about it. I think just as a viewer of the normal, Going 17 is normally chaotic.
Right.
And so,
like, just throw some raw meat in the middle and be like, good luck, fight for it, and then you immediately jump up.
You basically
in the
have
chaos
that
ladder.
You basically have that with Jongin and DK.
That's hilarious.
They're the raw meat.
I did not even realize that. That's another synchronicity of me calling out something that actually took place and I had no idea.
That's basically them. They decided they weren't going to do the challenge really at all. Well, so did Chol. Chol decided to go to sleep.
Respectable decision.
He was like, I'm going to eat whatever they bring. Because they had to make the best thing of rice.
Okay.
And so all the members are like, okay. Chol was like, I'm going to go to sleep. He tells the producers, I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to eat whatever they bring. And then they filmed him sleeping. Sung Kwan took selfies with the sleeping Chol.
I love all of that.
Yeah. And I was like, great that Chol is sleeping because he never sleeps. Though it seems like he's getting better at that nowadays. But DK and Jonghyun were like, let's just not care about this challenge and like go make this weird video.
That's also a respectable decision.
At this point, it's like herding cats with Going 17.
Absolutely. Which is why it's so funny.
So
I will catch up on that because I really do. They are always fun to watch.
Yeah, they're great. So there was that. Obviously, T by T to do. I always love their episodes. The I'm Leaving First was great.
Okay.
A violent, competitive. They had no idea what was happening. It was a series of mini games. They had to get the first to 100 points. Each mini game determined, it was random. You could lose points or gain points.
Yeah. If
you did or didn't do it.
Okay.
Completely random.
I love that.
Hilarious. Totally great. Obviously, One Us Diary has been awesome to watch while they've been on tour.
Well, I was about to say, especially because we are going to see them soon.
Very
soon. It gives
soon.
us a heads up on what we, one, can expect, and two, what happens before the show.
Right. So that's have
pretty cool.
An idea of how long that line is going to be that we're going to be waiting in.
Yep.
You know, what they have going on is like a pre-ritual situation while we're out there waiting. You know, we are excited because we have high touch.
Yes.
So that's even more exciting.
I'm going to hand hug.
Yes. Two Kids Room has been really fun.
Yeah, you know what? I have seen some of those with you.
Yeah,
when I've come over before we've recorded, and those have been fun.
The Hyunjin and Changbin was the one we watched recently.
That's right.
And then Chan and Hans was ridiculous.
Of course
it was.
They're both ridiculous humans who I absolutely adore.
Yes. And then another one that just recently came out that I highly recommend you guys check out, especially if you're interested in a more involved experience, is it's on Apple Podcasts is where I've been listening to it, but it's one of the Vice podcasts, Authentic, the story of Tablo.
Yeah.
He is Tablo from Epic High, and it's essentially a kind of interview slash podcast documentary style podcast series where they go and interview Tablo, and I believe his name is Derek. I could be wrong. The interviewer from Vice goes to Seoul and interviews Tablo and talks to him about this gigantic scandal that really took place in about 2010 or so and really messed up Tablo's life.
Yeah.
It was
not just his career, his life.
It was a really severe issue. It's a great example of anti-fandom.
Yeah.
It's a great example of cancel culture, of the internet thinking they know anything and everything to be true.
Right. Which dates for a very long time. This is not just, like, we now call it cancel culture. In the early and mid 2000s, we just treated pop stars that way here in the West. That's like TMZ and Perez Hilton and all those things. That's just how we approach celebrities. We had no issue tearing down these people for anything and everything. I mean, how long have we heard people making fun of Britney Spears, for example, and now people are finally understanding the severity and the depth of what she went through, and we still will never know because there's so much that woman has had to suppress in order to survive. So much that even until a couple years ago, Chris Crocker was still considered a laughingstock for sticking up for her. So
yeah, it's insane.
Cancel culture has existed for a long time.
Yeah. And so for those of you who aren't aware, Tablo, he is a very intelligent man. He is the kind of the front man for Epic High.
We're seeing them too.
We are seeing them too. I'm very excited. We actually get to take a photo with them. So we get to...
DILFs are back in town. I know they'd probably smack me if they heard that, but I say it with respect.
God. We do get to meet them briefly through a photo op, which I'm very excited.
Oh, jeez.
I love Epic High.
I'll be on my best behavior. I promise. I'm not ruining that for you. I promise.
I've loved them for many years. They are very talented. They've been in the game for about 2 decades. Damn. They are truly talented individuals. They were essentially the reason why Korean hip hop exists.
Right.
They're truly the creators. Yeah, the pioneers of it. So there's just a lot of mad respect for them. Tablo, like I said, being a very intelligent man, he graduated from Stanford. Yeah. And this rumor started. There was essentially this cafe that started on Naver that was built up to take him down.
Oh, wow.
And so they started this disgusting rumor that he essentially faked his identity, that he had like an in with like the president of
at Stanford
of Korea.
Oh my gosh.
That he like faked his identity, or that he stole the identity of the real gentleman who graduated from Stanford and blah blah blah, and like his diploma wasn't real. Like they went crazy. And so anyway, this is a very interesting story, but it's also very real to Tablo.
Yeah, no kidding.
I highly recommend that you let him tell you in his own words what happened and how it impacted him. I believe they're up to episode 3 right now for the release. But yeah, it's called Authentic, the story of Tablo, and it's very good. I've been listening to it and keeping up with it. So that's just one that I recommend a lot, and it's content I've been enjoying that's come out this month.
Nice.
Or in February, shall I say.
Right, because this will go up in March.
Yes.
But yeah.
For the month of February.
It's still February.
Yeah, we're filming a little earlier than we normally will for future episodes, so pardon that. We haven't gotten a chance to end the month yet.
Yeah.
We will in future episodes. So, that's it, I think, for content that we enjoy. And
That's a cat.
sorry, my cat just decided to push the door and go outside on the porch patio thing. So, now we're gonna chat about some comebacks that happened in February.
Yeah.
I've got quite a list, y'all. I apologize in advance, but I got really hype for some February comebacks. There are some really great ones. I know Libby has one that she was really excited about.
Correct. Actually, oh man, that was January. Crap.
What?
Whatever, I'm mentioning it. Honorable mention
Go for it.
is Luminous, Between Light and Darkness.
Yes, Luminous.
Self and Ego. Very, very good EP.
Yes, agreed.
Now they dropped one previously, Vision. I think
That was their pre-debut.
Pre-debut was Vision, and then Youth was
their one before their first mini.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Check out their stuff. Luminous has brought quite a bit to the table already for being
Agreed.
a newer group that's recently debuted.
Agreed.
And All Eyes Down is very fun.
All Eyes Down.
Matryoshika.
Matryoshika.
Very fun.
Shout out to Stephen Kim.
Yes, Want It More, also great. And I highly recommend checking out Vision too. All of them have a solo on that album, and it's really nice to hear each artist with like what they're going to gravitate to or how they choose to express themselves when it's just their solo track. I always love seeing that, and I like when groups do that. GOT7 did that. Mm-hmm. I know many groups have done it.
BTS has done that.
BTS has done it. I love when they also do it by unit. I know that's something very big that 17 frequently does on pretty much every album almost.
On their full length.
Yeah, I was about to say on full length albums they do, and then on some EPs or minis they do also have their team broken up and doing it with their,
or they have like weird units.
Right.
For example, like on Semicolon, they have Light a Flame, which is actually one of my favorites on that album. I know that I've not stopped talking to Libby about Light a Flame. It's like, I can't remember the full lineup, but essentially it's Woozy, Wanwoo, oh my god, Minghao.
Oh, nice. It's because we're trying to think of it.
Maybe
right now.
June. It's like 4 members, but they're not like a set.
Right. It's not
like one of the
hip-hop
units.
unit.
Yeah,
it's not
a
the
unit.
Performance unit. It's nothing like that.
It's a mishmash, but it's a cool subunit.
I love when they do that. I wish more artists would do that, because I love hearing how people's own styles mesh together and how you make it work.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't normally do unit songs with that
group
or that person. Mm-hmm. I think it's really interesting. One of 17's recent units that I think you already know what I'm going to say.
I do.
I love, and it cracks me up for different reasons, is the Rocket line, aka 2-1 line.
Yes.
On 17 with Joshua and Vernon.
English American line.
Yeah. So, I love it because for nostalgia reasons, it just reminds me of American pop punk in the mid-2000s. Mm. I jokingly call it the Disney Channel song because it just sounds like an intro to a show that you could watch during that time period. It's very upbeat. It's very peppy. Yeah. Fun. Like, it doesn't take itself seriously. Mm-hmm. So I say all of that with love.
I think you had once related it to me as a boy likes girl.
Yes.
Vibe.
Yes, it absolutely gives me boy likes girl.
Is that the name of it? Why do I feel like saying that out loud? It's not right.
Well, I mean, we have technology. Let's find out what they're called.
The Great Escape, right?
Yeah.
Is that Boy Likes Girl?
Boy Likes Girl. Hey Siri. Boys Like Girls. Yeah.
Boys Like Girls. Okay. I saying it out loud. I
know. Yeah, The Great Escape. Yeah, that's them.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly the energy it gives me. Correct.
Okay.
So, anyways, that wasn't 2022 or February. Sorry. But back to
You said Luminous as an honorable mention.
exactly.
They're also the sweetest humans.
Ashley got the lucky distinction of being able to talk to each member for 2 minutes, was it?
Correct.
A piece?
Yes.
So she did win a fan call with them and got to talk to them one-on-one briefly.
Yes.
So she can actually say that. They are the sweetest. She has actually communicated to them and they have said her name. She's also getting a signed album from them, which...
hopefully comes in very soon.
It's going to be part of the haul that we can't acknowledge exists for another month.
Yeah. At least.
I also would like to say Obsession, the mini, like the EP from Wonho, the single, essentially.
Yeah, single album.
Eye on You, a banger. Yeah. It is hot.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh my god.
Because we are going to be reacting to it very soon.
Yeah, so. I have not watched the video. I've only listened to it. I love the energy and the pacing of the song. And also... his other song on there, Somebody, is also good. It's slower, but it also has some tempo changes about midway through, and the tempo changes, energy and like time signature wise also kind of match up with Eye on You. So they work together, even though it's a different concept for Somebody. I really like that in terms of auditory. Sounds and like the however you want to classify that. I felt like Somebody is the little brother to Eye on You. I liked it. Just 2 songs. Okay. Yeah. So it is a single, but
no, yeah.
That album I did like. I listened to both of those songs pretty frequently, and that was one that definitely caught my attention. And then I haven't been able to really pay attention to other things the way I want, so I'm going to turn it over to Ashley, who has way more suggestions for February.
That is a-okay. So I do have some concept photos also for some of these albums that I was just geeked over. I know, I was just back to Wonho really quick. I know Wonho's concept art with the space, like...
the CD is gorgeous, and I have a random album version of Obsession that's coming in, so I don't know which one I'm going to get, and I won't know until we open it in a month. I'm just literally going to leave it in the box, because I can't lay eyes on the album without pissing myself off. So I'm just going to leave it inside the box and not acknowledge it exists. And, oh my god, I need to go check and see where my Stay... fan club membership is.
Oh yes, that's
Leave
also
Korea. Come here. Sorry.
No,
I'm
you're fine.
so sorry for screaming.
Okay, cool. So next, first up on my list, and these aren't going to be necessarily in any particular order of like favorites or like release date or anything. I just kind of jotted them down as I listened to them. Right. So, we're going to start with Epic High, which, shock and surprise, we know I love Epic High.
And you know what? To be fair, I did watch a lot of that with you.
You did?
Yeah, so...
you've heard some of it?
Yeah, I have heard some of it. And I actually went back and I was listening to more separately. But
okay, cool.
I forgot that came out in February.
Only a few weeks ago. Not even a few weeks ago, actually. Probably like last week.
Oh my... okay.
Yeah. So... basically, this might just be like a love note to Epic High because this album was truly phenomenal.
Right, and it was a part 2, wasn't it?
It was a part 2.
Yeah.
And so here I am showing Libby.
I love the album concept art, by the way.
Yeah.
It is so gorgeous.
So, what I feel like with the concept art is from comparing 1 and 2. So, for those who haven't seen it, part 1 is black. It's got a single, like, gray scale. Almost looks like an X-ray, like, photo print of a butterfly on the front.
And it's almost like chiaroscuro lighting. It's very, very dark. It's very... there's no warmth to the lighting, which is why it's not chiaroscuro, but it's that kind of very heavy lit from one angle. And
very noir.
Yeah, the backlit is just very dark.
Exactly. And then part 2 is the complete reversal. We have it's very pale sky blue, very watercolor. It's like two doves. They're facing each other. Wings are extended like they're in flight. And one is like a really pale, or like a gray blue, and the other one is a pretty pink. And so it might make more sense as I explain it, but for me, the second cover alludes to more of a hope and light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So Epic High, just in general, tend to write lyrics about darker experiences and realities, but they offer hope and a shoulder to lean on, for those who need it. And so maybe this is just my theory, but maybe that's why the part 1 album has a singular butterfly, which still often resembles hope.
Yes, correct.
But motif-wise, but part 2 is the continuation of the journey. But when you're walking with a friend,
right?
You're with a confidant,
right?
You're not alone,
right?
So both still have a hopeful energy, still, even though it's dark, and it's still like there's still pain there, and it's a hard experience. There's still symbols of hope,
right?
It's just portrayed in a different way.
Yeah,
because even the lyrics with part 2 are still very intense.
Oh yeah, I mean when we were watching Face ID,
or Gray So Gray we watched too.
Oh, Gray So Gray was pretty. I was geeked. I love the lyrics. Yeah. I was very excited, but Face ID had me cracking up. Yeah, I loved it.
And so that was another
had fun.
Thing. Yeah, and that was the other thing I was going to mention is they have released a good chunk of individual MVs, which are like a live performance music style. Yes. Which are really fun, y'all. I really recommend it.
I really love it. If you at all are partial to NPR's Tiny Desk, it has similar energy to that because they're just in a contained room for the most part, playing, doing their thing.
Yeah.
Some of them are a little, theatrical with it, which always adds some fun spice to it.
Some pizzazz.
And they're just in their little zone, doing their shit, doing their music.
Yeah, they're just going with it.
Love it.
So I recommend, if you have not listened to any Epic High albums, for part 1, I recommend this, but obviously we're discussing part 2 specifically here. So, and I especially recommend it for this album.
And I will say, I listened to in the part 2 order and then part 1.
Yes.
So even so, they're still like they're complementary sides of the same coin.
Right.
But they have a lot of values that are interchangeable that you can just bounce back and forth between the concepts. I really like what they did.
Yes. And
as a new fan.
Yes.
So I can only imagine how it feels as a veteran.
Oh, yes. And I do recommend that y'all do not shuffle or skip tracks.
Yeah.
At least for your very first run through on this one.
Right.
Because you will do yourself a disservice because these transitions are unmatched.
When an album capitalizes on the transition aspect between songs, I ascend. I love it so much.
This
underutilized trait in music at this time. Agreed. Because music has shifted from art pieces in terms of a whole album versus what can you get played on the radio. And I know that has definitely shifted how they approach it. I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point too. True. And that's been talked about ad nauseum before, but YOLO, whatever. We'll add our comments on it too.
And I think that they have masterfully created and straddled that line of having a track that stands alone from start to finish, but also transitions so smoothly from one to the next. The way they've done it is truly just...
Do they help with the mixing special on their albums?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I figured they did because of the fact that it was utilized so well.
Yes.
Usually that means that they're having their own artistic input because, you know, this is what the song means for us. This is what we want the song to sound like. So let's make sure those beats line up for the next.
And it's funny because actually in the authentic, the story of Tableau, podcast, I think it's in the most recent episode 3, he talks about when he walks in to meet Tablo. They meet at actually is it Mithra Studio? It might be Mithra Studio, which is the other rapper. Or is it Two Cuts? One of the other gentlemen's one of their member studios they meet.
Yeah.
And he was saying how they were right smack dab in the middle of working on their album, which would be this one.
That's awesome.
How they have the track list written up on the board, and they're in the middle of it. So
love it.
But because I feel like Epic High wants you to listen to the album as a full experience, because they do the seamless transitions and the way they have it set up.
Yeah.
Generally I will just talk about it as a whole before highlighting my favorite tracks. They do bring me always to a comfortable space of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because they always bring up such classic references.
Right.
And instead of it being like a horrible experience of like, oh my god, I'm so old. It's just like a happy bit of reflection.
Right.
Instead. And so this album's no different. Their lyrics are just so poignant. And I highly recommend doing research to translate them, or to just watch the videos where they have the translation provided, and just really reading them.
They were spitting bars.
They really are.
They said what they said.
They're fantastic. Oh, and that's another thing about Tablo. I can't really stop praising Tablo. He's fantastic. He also has written books on poetry in Korean and in English. So he is very intelligent, and he is very well spoken.
Very cool. I can't relate to that, but I respect it.
Same. And their features have been phenomenal.
They really have.
For part 1 and part 2.
When you showed me the track listing and the features on there, I kept saying, wait, what? Wait. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. And so because they've been so good, part 2 has just really sent me extra over the edge. And that's another thing, they can fit into any vibe, which I think is a really special trait.
I agree. I love when an artist brings so much variety. Like, don't get me wrong, I also love when artists are in their pocket. Like, R&B is my pocket. I do the shit out of R&B.
Right.
Like, that's also, I love that too. I love it. Super kudos to that.
Right.
But when an artist can jump around to different genres and make everything their bitch, very here for it. Yeah. I love it.
And that's what they do. And I think they really kind of show that skill on this album too.
Yeah.
And with this album in particular, you get some really good slow jams. You get a few upbeat bops. You get some great chill out tunes. And you even get some instrumentals, which I love. I love all of that. And like with the first part of this album, these guys get really personal. It seems like these albums are therapy for them.
Yeah.
And I genuinely hope that with the release of these, they kind of can hold on or let go of what they're holding on to.
Right.
With the process of
recording
and just getting them
catharsis.
Out. Exactly. And so some of my favorite tracks, you have Super Rare. The beat is just so good. And Tablo and Mithra never disappoint with their flow. You have Gray So Gray, which is the one with Yuna. Which is no secret how much I love her. So when I saw she was a feature, I knew it was already going to be a favorite.
Yeah.
And it's got the right amount of soft and hard. Because you have the melodic raps.
Yeah.
But then you have her softness of her voice, of Yuna's voice. But then Mithra and Tablo have like this grit in the rap tone.
Yeah.
So it's just that juxtaposition that's just really good.
Right.
I hated myself. It's Tablo's word. When I tell you this song is literally my favorite song on the album, like no bullshit.
Yeah.
It had me beyond emotional. The lyrics spoke directly to past me, who was lost and suicidal and out of reach.
Yeah.
To the present me, who's still struggling every day to heal and always stay in a positive mental space. Mm-hmm. I highly recommend that y'all go and check out I Hated Myself, because that song is truly on another level. Like, it's one of those that you can just sit and listen to with like nothing going on. You just sit and listen to that song, listen to those lyrics, and you're just like, wow.
Yeah, it's
deeply personal.
When I was about to say, when art is that personal, even if it's written, obviously it's written about someone else's story.
Yeah.
But it's so raw.
So good.
It's so easy to translate those experiences that the person's writing about into experiences that you've also lived through. And it's a great way to help connect with others or with an artist through, you know, very flayed open music like that.
Yeah.
And then also remember, you know, life experiences don't happen in a vacuum, and a lot of people are walking around trying to do their best.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to walk around and try and do my best too, I'm in good company.
Yeah. I mean, it's a powerful song. And then Face ID, which is the one you mentioned.
That one had me giggling.
And
that one was so fun.
It was so much fun. And if y'all see them on tour and y'all don't hype these guys up when they play this song, because they wrote it specifically for the tour.
Oh.
So it's so fun. And they, you know, because they released it and they were so happy to release it for tour. Like, I know that I can't wait to experience the song and them. It's gonna be on.
I'm very hype. I'm very excited, and I'm already trying to figure out what poster I'm gonna make.
I fear for them and for us. Well, and for me. Let me just.
Well, I was about to say, us.
You will be
sure.
You will be fine. So the next one up, and again, I have concept photos for Libby's Eyes, is Taeyeon.
Is this what y'all suckered me into paying attention to the other day?
Yeah.
With the fit?
Yeah. Well, this is the one I...
Suckered. I say that like as though I wasn't excited the moment I heard the concept of it.
This is the one I was thinking of. So she gives us tons of different looks with this album. This is her INVU album.
Otherwise known as her elf princess vibe.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. And she also, in this scene, she has literally a bow and arrow.
Really love those outfits. Oh my gosh. I love the chains that are in K-pop and then in Eastern music. The face chains, the head chains, the body chains, the waist chains. I love all of it. Yeah. Even though it also is very detrimental to me and my peace of mind.
And I love the space buns.
Yeah, that is
fit.
So
I think that was really cute.
With, again, a little bit more chains. Excellent.
Yeah, fantastic. So, this one is I think it's her third full album. And I was really stoked. Anytime you say Taeyeon has a full album coming out to me, I'm gonna be like a kid in a friggin' candy store. I think I have her full solo discography.
Nice.
I think. But you know what? And I'm probably going to get shot by my father-in-law. Sorry, Richard. I love you.
Fucking hilarious. Sorry.
I love this album. I will say that. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't love it.
Right.
But I think I held it to a higher standard because it's Taeyeon. So I was a little let down. I will say.
Right.
A little bit let down whenever I listen to the whole thing through.
Which, you know what? That happens as a fan, and that's another thing. How do you stay excited but not over promise in your own head what that is going to sound like?
Right.
Because you have no idea what the artist is wanting to achieve with their art.
Yeah.
So how do you as a fan not cross a line to disappoint yourself, but still stay excited for a concept that's coming out?
Well, and that's the thing.
It's just human nature, I guess.
That's the thing, because you know, I hear all the time, in particular with like BTS, where people are like, oh, they don't sound like themselves. And it's like, but what do they sound like?
Right.
Artists change.
Just like any human being.
Yeah.
You think you're going to be the same as the stuff you were doing 5 years ago?
Yeah.
That person's not this...
that they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, exactly. She's gone.
They don't exist anymore. And plus, why would you want them to put out the exact same music for 5 years in a row?
Right.
It's like, No, that doesn't make
In
sense
fact,
to me. That doesn't make sense.
exactly. In fact, there are artists that we do care about that have lately been, in our opinion, doing that, and
Correct.
it makes it less. We're
Appealing.
less excited for to listen to those concepts because we're like, you've already done that though,
Right.
over and over.
Right.
We know you're hot. Let's
Exactly.
do something a little different.
Exactly.
A little different.
I think for me, what that looks like is when my standard is when it falls below my standard, which
Right.
is if the album sounds the same as itself,
Right.
if that makes sense. If there's too many songs on the album
Mhm.
that sound similar to each other,
Right. That
then
makes
I get let down.
Right.
So I think that's what happened on this one. I think there was just too many. It's almost like they were trying to be like, okay, Taeyeon, you have to fill out 14 tracks to
Right.
fill this full album. What you got?
Right.
And then she was like, this is what I've got, but this one was kind of like a version of this that I tweaked. And this one was kind of a version of this that I tweaked. And so on and so forth. And then they were like, oh, well, we need them, so go ahead and just add it.
Right.
So it kind of felt like that. Not to say that they were bad.
It's just more you didn't get the variety that you expected from her.
Or that I wanted.
Right.
Exactly. And again, not to say it's a bad album.
Just these are just our opinions.
Just that I personally would have liked to see a little bit more. So, Set Myself on Fire, Toddler, Some Nights, Can't Control Myself, which does have like a modern Avril Lavigne feel to it.
Interesting.
Which I did like. But Timeless and No Love Again, those are the good songs, just not my favorite.
Yeah.
Or, in my opinion, like, great songs.
Gotcha.
They're good. But the ones that I really liked,
Yeah.
INVU, which is her title track, and the one that we're eventually going to do a reaction for, spoiler alert, is such a catchy chorus. It has a really catchy chorus, and it's got classic Taeyeon vocals, which I love her vocals. Her voice is so unique and beautiful. And so, honestly, after listening to the song, I'm really excited to see what the choreo looks like.
Yeah.
It had me trying to visualize what it's gonna look like in a performance.
That's kind of what I was doing
with Wonho.
Yes, but actually I was going to say with I Can't Stop Me.
Oh!
Because I waited to watch that.
Yes.
And I was sitting there trying to imagine what this song, with the song pacing that I had at my listening disposal.
Yeah.
What was the choreo going to look like? What was it going to physically be like?
Yeah. That's exactly what I was trying to figure out with INVU. Is trying to figure out what the performance will look like, what, you know, I can kind of, just based on some of the outfits I've seen for her concept photos, maybe I can kind of piece together what the set design would look like, or the stage. But yeah, it definitely makes me wonder what kind of a choreo would exist. Siren, I loved it. Loved the instrumentals and the arrangement she had. Loved the way she played with her vocals. I loved how I didn't predict the direction she would take with the chorus or the second verse.
Okay.
And she kept it interesting from start to end.
Nice.
So I loved Siren. Cold as Hell was another unpredictable song. Really enjoyed the tempo changes and the beat drop.
Okay.
Heart had it's a Taeyeon ballad arrangement. I loved it. And honestly, I don't know how familiar you are with her discography. But it sounds like if Spark and Happy had a child.
Nice.
Especially in the chorus.
I really love when artists, it almost seems like you just said, they go back to their previous songs and sounds and they're like, I really loved doing this type of concept.
Yeah.
Let me make version 2.5.
Right.
Exactly. Mixing it up and then making it still different from the original tracks.
Yeah. That's what it felt. It felt like she was like, it was almost like a little Easter egg.
Yeah. We love those.
Yeah. And so Weekend, she actually released a while ago as a single. she put it obviously as a track on the album. I still really enjoy it. It's a really fun song. And then ending credits. Really loved that one. It was I'm a sucker for songs that are big and epic sounding.
Yeah.
And it gives me that energy. They really set it up with like a big booming drum.
Nice.
It has drops in the chorus, which I really liked. It has the flow of the track, which was really smooth. I just really enjoyed the song, and I appreciated that they ended the album on that song.
Right. Like, what a fun note. Like,
yeah.
Like leaving a concert whenever it has an encore. Like, leaving on a good
high.
Yes.
Exactly. It was a really nice way to end the album. So I thought that one was A+. So it's not like, again, I didn't hate the album. I really enjoyed a good chunk of it.
Just your expectations compared to what you received were different.
Right. And maybe after a few, listen throughs again, maybe a few of the songs that were only okay to me or good will turn out to be great and they'll grow on me. Right,
because that happens to me all the time.
Same. Songs grow on me quite often.
Yeah.
So,
and I like that.
Yeah.
I like being surprised by music.
I do too. Our next one that we're going to talk about is one I think you're excited for.
Yes.
BTOB.
Which I have held off from listening entirely because I knew we were going to react to them.
Yes.
And this is going to be my first comeback with the entirety of the actual BTOB lineup. So I literally have been waiting on purpose for this.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yes. First comeback as a group since enlistment. Chaos has returned to the world thanks to you, Sungjae. Please, y'all, enjoy any and all comeback promo content for this era, seriously, because Sungjae is back to making his Hyung's life incredibly difficult.
I love that.
Enriched but difficult.
I love that for me.
I missed him.
Love that for Sungjae too.
I missed him so much. I'm so glad he's back. So BTOB has definitely come back to claim their throne as vocal kings. Even Minhyuk, rap god, but also vocal king. We love it. So
when's the next Huta coming out?
Don't you dare ask him such questions.
Are you there, God? It's me, Libby. Can you send a mental DM to someone for me?
Absolutely not. So,
Manifesting.
No.
Yes.
So we're going to go down the list here because this album really hits. It was actually more... It was more spicy than I thought it would be.
Oh. Lack of the spice.
I like the spice. It had, for sure, some twangs in it. So... Don't get yeehaw excited. Okay, that was I knew it was the wrong word as soon as I said it because I knew you were going to take it there.
Bring me more yeehaw to K-pop.
There's plenty of yeehaw in K-pop.
It's not enough.
It's too much.
No, it's not.
So, yeehaw. First song is The Song. There's incredible vocal power as always. Minhyuk, his melodic raps, A1. The harmonies, stunning. Melodies, gorgeous. Also the fans.
I was about to say.
Also the fans. Peniel's spoken word rap style, always so fun. Adds some change up to the song. Also the high notes. Yoonkwang.
My man.
Absolutely loved
reminding everyone he is a powerhouse. And if you thought different, you're wrong.
Truly. So yeah, this song is beautiful. Blooming Day, the chorus is awesome. Peniel's rap in the second verse was so good. And then there's amazing belting towards the end of the track.
Nice.
Be Together, it's a standard BTOB ballad, but it's so beautiful. My Way was a bit spicier. There's a bit more snap in the instrumental. It's got a jazzier sound, especially when Chang Sub's got his vocals.
Changstep does really well with jazzy
He does.
influences. He really, I think his voice, one, suits the style, and I think his own personal style really is complemented by it.
I agree.
He has a lot of fun with it.
I agree. I think that he really kind of like enhanced that with Kingdom.
Agreed.
Yeah.
He flourished with that.
Yeah. Another one, Whiskey. I knew you'd love this one. So it's another track that has a bit more pop to it. They have a snare build-up to the chorus that has a really nice falsetto in it.
Yeah.
Super catchy chorus.
Okay.
And I loved the falsetto. It juxtaposed with Peniel's low tone in the chorus. It was just such a beautiful balance. I loved Whiskey.
Okay. Checking her out.
Yes. Whiskey and My Way were really great.
Checking out the whole album, and I will also listen to it in order. Chronological.
Agreed.
Track listing order.
Lonely is it's a more emotional sounding ballad track. Absolutely stunning. Love the mixing and the arrangement. Of course, the vocals are always on point with BTOB. The instrumentals were awesome, and it had wonderful build up. Lonely was more of the difference between kind of your standard wailing belting track or ballad track. Lonely had a deeper, almost like country ballad, but without the yeehaw.
I will still check.
Okay, great.
Damn it.
Dance With Me, we get a fast rap.
Ooh.
It's really fun. It's a track that you would sit at your desk and kind of like
Bop
jam to. Yeah. And it's really smooth in the chorus.
These boys can bop.
Higher. They gave us rock and roll BTOB.
Hell yeah.
It's so good, y'all. I was screaming, living, absolutely jumping off a cliff in excitement.
Lemming.
Livy the lemming needs to jump with me.
I raised my hand.
Yes.
You can't see that. The recording doesn't pick up all of my movements.
No. But it has electric guitar. Has a vocal grit.
Ah, yes.
Rock star falsettos. You know the difference between like a regular falsetto and one that's got like that rock star influence?
Yeah, like it's real raw and like real power. Yeah.
Yeah, like almost like making fun of the vibrato on a guitar.
Right.
Kind of like that.
Nice.
Rap interludes were fantastic with the rap line. It was just so good. And it sounds like they had a blast recording it.
I always love when artists have fun. Do
Agreed.
your thing.
Agreed. Thank you. For some reason, songs that are thank you, thanks, things of that nature, where it's an outward gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
those just hit me for some reason. They're always so good.
I think it's also just, especially if you're a big fan of that artist, you like seeing that they're humble and that they are not just thankful, but they're thankful to the point of going out of their way in certain regards to make sure you know they appreciate it.
Yeah. And the lyrics definitely help because they're really sweet.
Yeah.
The rap sections were great and the drum beats were awesome.
It's like you're being seen by your artist. And I think that's why it
touches you.
people. Yeah.
It's All Good was great. Acoustic guitar. So they're giving us a little bit of everything, I feel like, with this album. You get the acoustic guitar with the heavenly vocals. You get incredible harmonies in this one. And falsettos. The arrangement and the flow of the track was awesome. It might be my favorite ballad style track on the album.
Wow, okay.
Though Lonely also was very up there.
Yeah,
but
big contender.
Yeah. Peniel has another spoken word style rap in this one, and it just adds a really nice touch.
He's just got a great voice.
He does.
Like when you that's why he does well with podcasting. He has a great voice that you just kind of tune in to listen to what he has to say.
Agreed. But he also can change up his rap style, I think, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely beneficial.
Yeah.
Anyone who can ever change up how they normally present their style and do it differently, you always get my attention.
Yeah. So the next one is Outro Encore. And so I'm normally super resistant to intros and interludes and outros.
I agree. I think it's one of those things when it's done well, it's awesome. But I think a lot of times it's not done to the capacity that I think makes it effective.
Right.
To where they become something I pay less attention to.
Right. I normally avoid them like the plague. But this one is absolutely stunning. The moment the track started playing, I could just like, it was one of those moments you could feel the instruments like playing.
Yeah, you got the energy from like the live recording.
Exactly. You could like feel it swelling and building.
Yeah.
And it was just a fantastic experience. And so then
you're
they
like riding the wave with them.
Right, exactly. And so you can feel, and then the drop off with the switch up, they change the rap styles with, there's like a melodic rap, and then that goes to belting and falsettos, and then there's ad libs. And then
so there's a lot.
It's a huge, it feels like
it
a
is
performance. Yes.
It's an and it's called encore. Yes. So this is mimicking what a concert encore is like, where you have that huge release of energy. Everything's really high,
exactly.
Lots of stuff is happening because everyone's on that same wavelength.
It's a huge burst of energy and experience. And then how they end it, there's a sudden drop off into silence.
Oh, cool.
And then that's it.
Yeah, like, it's done.
It's it.
That's it.
And it's also the end of the album.
Nice. Okay, so that's an effective outro.
Yeah, fantastic. It was pure perfection. So I loved that. Was very, very, very pleased. So the next one, Billie.
I'm holding myself back from singing Billie Jean.
I saw Jackson. Your eye like twitch.
I held back.
I was like, what's wrong with her? Is she having a stroke?
Only somewhat. It's me pausing my own energy.
It's like, what's going on?
Is she dead? Did she just die? Yes.
So
she's been dead, Your Honor.
As a newer group, I think the biggest question, at least I have, is like, how do they stack up? Right? Like, how do they...
Yeah, because you're always, especially, and this is something that I want to work on, spoiler, trying to figure out where different groups and different songs, where their vibe, where their energy kind of signature, even just for that song or just for that album, where everything lies, is something that I mentally do all the time. Yeah. Because whenever I'm listening to music in my spare time and I want a certain energy level for myself, or I want to like a certain concept to listen to, I try and think of all the songs or all the albums I have in that little category, and I go to that category and see how it stacks up. So yeah, with newer groups, absolutely, you're sorry babes, but y'all know as part of breaking into it for music, you are going to be compared and contrasted against others. It can be done in a very positive way and not just done negatively.
Right.
But yeah, you're absolutely going to be wondering how these newer ones mesh.
Right. And I think we're past the eras now where let me rephrase. You're less likely to find a horrific and cringy rookie era these days.
That's true. Just like how teenagers nowadays know how to do full faces of makeup and don't have that cringy middle school and early high school era of learning how eyeliner works.
Right, yeah.
Y'all now have the internet to tell you how to do stuff.
Exactly.
And we have different acceptable levels for rookie eras now, especially with how much the industry has expanded in the past 5 years alone.
Right, exactly. The standards and expectations are so incredibly high.
Yeah. Bless these new groups. Kudos to them.
Yeah.
Kudos to any of these artists. There's no way I could ever get up and do this.
So hard to get. I feel like you have to work even harder now as a trainee.
Agreed.
To get even to the super high standard to debut.
Agreed. And also just to survive trainee era, because of how prevalent the internet is. Like, oh my gosh.
A mess.
Good luck.
Right. And so, despite Billy debuting super recently, they are performing well. They have great vocals.
Nice.
So I guess I'm excited to see if they can keep producing such high quality products.
Yeah.
And I think their teasers and their marketing team has done well, because it's always interesting. They you got to give it to them. They make it.
They get your attention.
Yeah.
They do their job.
They keep you intrigued, and you want to tune in to see what they've got going on. So with this album, this is their second mini. I have to say I'm not a fan of the title track.
Mm-hmm.
But it's possible that it could grow on me. It has potential. But I will say 2 of the B-sides, A Sign, Squiggle, Tilde, Anonymous. Well, let me say, A Sign, Anonymous, Overlap, 1-1, Believe. These 3 tracks, they're more easy listening.
Yeah.
They have something slightly funky or like upgraded about them. I enjoyed those quite a bit.
They have some spice.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
But I will say Moon Palace, I love the quirk of it. It has something like a bit of a haunt to it. I just wish the uniqueness of the song continued all the way through it.
I got you.
I feel like it was in the beginning enough, almost like just to grab you in, like an intro to an essay, and pulled you in. But then once you were in, it didn't continue.
Right.
It kind of faded off into like a simple, easy listening.
Right.
But I still really liked it.
Okay. Interesting. I am very curious to hear the haunting quality. You definitely got my attention with that word.
Yeah, it has a bit of a haunt to it.
Okay.
So that's Billy. I'm interested to see what they keep putting out.
Yeah.
I think if they keep growing at the rate they're growing, they're gonna do very well.
And you know what? It's so difficult for everyone's discography to work for you. For every song to hit.
Oh, absolutely.
That is so hard.
Absolutely. It's rare.
Right. So it's just one of those things to show, like, just because it doesn't work yet doesn't mean they won't turn into faves in the future. Absolutely. Or something along those lines. So,
absolutely. And I'm still excited.
Yeah.
Even though some of these people or some of these artists don't always hit 100% of the time, I still get excited whenever I see they have a comeback.
Right. Yeah.
Because I like
check it out.
Yeah, I like their potential, or I like what I've seen in the past, even if it's not 100% my taste. Like In Mix, or however you say their name.
Yeah.
They had. I'm gonna be 1,000% honest. They had a terrible debut.
I feel so bad for them.
I do too.
They were led astray.
They had a terrible debut. But their vocals, their talent,
their
is
vocal
so
powerhouse
good.
Is there.
They are so talented.
And part of me wants to become like a big fan of theirs just because I'm like, I love a good underdog story.
Right.
And y'all were screwed from the get-go.
They were
That was not fair.
No.
I mean, I'm going to be real honest. Even the name is slightly off-putting to me because it reminds me so much of that crazy cult with that dude who was branding girls.
I thought the same thing.
And I know that that's an American, like, centralized point of view. I totally know that and understand that. It's just in the back of my mind, for me, because of how insane that story was, and we watched it unfold real time over the past couple years, their name is so similar to that cult's name that unfortunately, anytime I see the name, there is a little bit of a gut knee-jerk reaction in the back of my brain going, ugh!
Yes.
And I hate that for them. Well, it's not their fault.
That was a February release too, so that's one you could have talked about.
Well, you just did.
But
that's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm not trying to ride the hate train on them more. Those girls, it's not even fair.
I don't think it's a hate train. It's at least not from our perspective.
No, definitely not. But there have been other people online, and that's why I don't want to say anything further because I already feel so bad for them.
Basically, we are not writing them off, is what we're saying. We're not writing them off. We will still check out their future releases.
Those girls have pipes, and they have so much potential.
They have talent. They can dance. They can sing. We are gonna check out their future releases.
This one was not executed well.
No, this was not their fault.
Yeah, this was not their fault. They were led astray,
Yes.
and I'm in their corner and ready for the next comeback.
They're gonna kill it.
Let the dust settle first, girls.
Yes.
I'm so sorry you're going through this.
Yes, and I'm sorry they have to continue to promote it.
I know.
They're strong women to do it.
Correct. Kudos to y'all.
Yes. So the next one we already know and love, Rolling Quartz.
Yes, correct.
So
very excited by that one.
It's a great album, y'all. This is their first official album. It just makes me excited to see what they put out next, and they did a great job for their first album. So the thing with this is, and Libby honestly would probably be a better judge to review this album than me. I love rock music. They definitely fall more in a heavy metal category, which is less my cup of tea, but I still really enjoy their music.
Yeah.
So for me, I had 3 favorites on this album. Good Night, obviously. We did a reaction video, which is our first video released ever on this channel. So please,
holy cannoli.
Please, we won't rehash it. So go check out our reaction video.
Yeah.
The second one is Delight. And they gave me such In This Moment vibes. I don't know if you remember In This Moment.
I do remember In This Moment.
I loved In This Moment. And it makes me so happy. Delight is for sure an In This Moment track.
Okay. I'm going to check that.
And absolutely obsessed with the guitar and drum breakdowns they gave us in that track. And then Holler. The intro was fantastic. And the guitar and vocal pacing in the beginning was also wonderful. And it might be my favorite song on the album, except for Goodnight. And it has a beautiful guitar solo in Holler as well.
I definitely need to check them out. And in comparison to Ashley, I was listening to like Pantera on the way over here. So I listen to heavy metal music still frequently.
Yes.
So I do need to check them out. Like I said earlier, to defend myself, I am behind on a lot of things.
Yes. Don't feel pressure, babe.
I am going to catch up. But no, it's stuff that I want to listen to. So it's not pressure. It's just more like, shit, I haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I do still listen to rock music. Obviously, I just tend to listen to more alternative,
right,
or more indie rock,
right.
And heavy metal is something I don't listen to very often anymore, but I do really love Rolling Quartz still, so I highly recommend checking them out. So next up is Solji. She released her first solo single. She is from Exit, and I love Exit. I love Solji. She has a beautiful voice. Really stoked to see her releasing a solo. I have already pre-ordered it, and it should be coming in our haul hopefully soon.
The vacuum of boxes that we're going to pretend don't exist.
Yes.
Y'all don't even understand. I mean, you will see at some point how many there are, but there's so much that we're holding back from opening, and it's difficult.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a lot. So, you might actually really love this album.
Okay. So
Fade Away, beautiful ballad, and My Little Texan Heart soared at the little country instrumental twangs she added in the background, and she sang her heart out in this one, y'all. She really did. And I did get a little bit of like a yeehaw vibe.
All right.
So she's
said the magic words.
Yeah, did I? Pillow. It's a little jazzy.
Cool.
But somehow also sounds like a 7-track from his Must Listen era, which I just went on earlier about. It maybe sounds a bit like Tattoo, which is a song from that album. Maybe Tattoo's the wrong song. I don't know. It sounds like a song from that.
There was enough sound signatures that made you think of that album.
Yes, exactly. Really great song. And Breaking Up. Orchestra accompanied ballad.
I'm sorry, that's hilarious.
I love it.
We're breaking up, and I need an entire freaking orchestra.
I love the drama.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love
this. Is Phantom of the Opera level
yes.
stuff. Like, let me dive into my grievances.
I love it. We
know
need
what?
a dramatic.
I'm here for it. Good on you, girl.
Yes.
Tell that person how they screwed up. In the orchestra.
100%. And then Have a Good Day. I loved her instrumentals. And she has a lower tone in this one. And she has a snap track. All of that within the first 30 seconds of the song.
Okay.
I loved it. And then the chorus, there's a bit of a tone change up and the tempo change up. And she has a falsetto.
So she basically broke up with you and is like, okay, bye, have a nice day.
Yeah, if you follow the order of the track listing, yeah. She's like broken up and now she's living her best life.
Good for her.
Love that for her. So, next one up, I'm really excited. Han Sung-yoon, he's formerly from was a trio, then it was a quad, now it's a duo. I don't remember the order. Basically Lunafly. He was from Lunafly.
Okay.
He's now made his solo debut.
All right.
With Lavender instead of Lavender.
Love that for us.
Love that. Dude, he smashed it. It was an absolute unexpected rock influenced album from a soloist.
Cool.
And he's a great mid-tone vocalist. And he also kind of reads more on like the lower end of the spectrum. Which is a nice change since I feel like there's a lot of like upper mids or like high toned artists out there.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I just want more deeper toned artists.
I agree.
Just
for me, just trying to sing along, not that I do it good. Deeper tones are so much easier for me.
Same.
Versus higher tones.
Same.
So feel bad for some of us out here. We can't.
Yes.
Look, we were not blessed.
I was not blessed anything vocally. So
God has favorites. We're not them. Can you just give us some lower tones so we can try?
Cannot relate.
Please.
Also, he does another thing. His enunciation is so clear when he sings.
I love that.
It's beautiful.
I love crisp vocals like that. Crisp enunciations. I also like it when it's slurred and it's like a little
styly.
I don't want to say sloppy, but a little like drawly.
Right.
Like real comfortable.
Right.
I do like
real
that
casual,
too. Yeah,
really.
I love them for different reasons.
Yeah.
I just love a lot of different things.
Oh,
man.
so do I.
Don't know what to say other than that.
But that was one thing I really noticed when I was listening to this album was his enunciation was so clear.
Nice.
And it made listening to this album even more of a treat.
Right.
So in this moment, it's honestly, it's again an intro. Again, I don't listen to these things, right? Normally. So, but it's short, but it's actually so good that I want like the full length. Give me the full length.
Hate when that happens. I love it because I love when a short song can deliver so well. And then I hate that it's short and I don't have more of it. So then I replay it 50 times in a row.
Yes.
Like a crazy ADHD person.
Yes. Like the guitar, the rock energy, his vocals, like Sung Yun Shi. Give me the full length. Please. 제발.
Come on, man.
Come on. So then, Lavender is the title track. I marked Chicken Buta for you.
Thank you.
It's Libby's favorite lyric to find in songs now. It's turning into like a scavenger hunt.
I mishear things all the time in English, let alone in a different language.
Yes.
And I mishear things so hilariously sometimes that they then become a treat for myself to mishear in all future capacities.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the actual Korean phrase is, but anytime I hear it, I hear chicken buta. Chicken butter? What? Oh, man. So stupid.
You're not stupid. And again, his vocal tone, it is really smooth. I personally love when artists overlay their own vocals
I do
and
too.
harmonize with themselves.
I do too. When they're their own backup artists.
Yes.
Love it for all of us.
And he like gives himself that in the chorus. And he gives himself of the effect of like having a band. I just love that.
Amazing.
And so then there's Moondriver. Live for the guitars. Again, this is like a rock influenced album and I wasn't prepared and it took me off my feet. He does this run in the beginning, this vocal run, and then he puts like a slight vibrato for stylization on his vocals, and I just loved it. Is Moondriver my favorite song of 2022? I don't know. It's literally February or March. I don't know.
Woo is time. We don't know her.
But how can I declare my favorite song of 2022 when it's this early?
Well, it's this favorite at this time. It's your favorite up until at least now.
And he adds the tiniest bit of like a retro alien keyboard effect. Yeah. But it's
that was very dramatic. I'm sorry.
It's not overdone at all. Okay. It's like just the right amount of pizzazz. But like...
You said the key word, alien.
Look.
Would it be a companion piece to Moonwalker? Ooh.
Don't do this.
If y'all could see the glare she was giving me. Ooh.
Don't do this to me.
I hit a nerve. That's okay.
The Problem is another song. Not what you just did, which also was one, but...
I love when it works out like that. Thanks, universe.
It's a more pop influenced song, but it's really fun and catchy. Whatever You Want. Oh my god. Okay, so this one is like acoustic guitar, right?
Yeah.
It's like at a coffee shop late at night. Is the entire energy that this song gives you. It's like you can picture it.
Like meet cute vibes at a coffee shop?
Kind
or
of.
more just hanging out, relaxing at a coffee shop?
Either. Honestly, it could go either way.
Cute.
But it's like if for some reason this song didn't get you in the first verse, I beg of you to wait for the chorus.
Okay.
I beg of you, please. You guys, people trust me with giving them recommendations for songs for some reason.
Y'all don't even know how accurate that is. I will dive into that at a later point in time, but continue.
But I beg of you, wait for the chorus. His voice in the chorus is so fueled by emotion. And then plus the drums kick in verse 2.
Yeah.
And it just gets better. The chorus gets better in the second chorus. After
I love when that happens.
Oh.
It's like, because the song is still building.
It's building. Yes, it's adding layers.
I love when that happens with music.
It adds layers. It's beautiful. It's so good.
I love when songs do that.
So, and then how nice would it be? This acoustic guitar in the beginning literally brought tears to my eyes. That's why I got, like, shaky voice when I said the title. I was like, whoa. How is just talking about this album turning me into, like, an emotional little bitch? Okay. So, and I literally put in my notes, good music turns me into an emotional soft bitch.
It's what happens. It hits a nerve.
It really does. So, Sungyoon, he delivers top tier instrumentals and vocals at the bare minimum. And he ends this album with this song in such a gentle way.
Cool.
And like I mentioned, I'm just gonna say it, like, Lavender might be like the top 2 albums of 2022, if not number 1 right now.
What's the other one? If it's top 2, you're like, fuck you, I wasn't prepared for that question.
Well, I have, like, a few jumbled around in my brain.
Okay, fair enough.
And I'm like, not sure yet.
Fair enough. I was just curious because you said top 2 and I was just...
Well...
Ooh, share with the class.
Well, I would say that Epic High is up there.
Yeah. I kind of expected them, honestly.
Yeah, because that album is... And I have to honestly give it the most credit to I Hate It myself.
Yeah.
Because that song really cinched it.
And you've been listening to them for so long that they were there with you during eras where
Yes.
you also felt that way, to where it makes it even more impactful.
Yes, absolutely.
I got you.
And plus, that album is
you.
one that, especially since part 1 was released, I was just really excited and waiting on part 2.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, it's finally here, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot that comes with it instead of just the music.
Right. And then, so yeah, Lavender, guys, I highly recommend y'all checking them out, or this album out in particular. The final one I'll mention as like a more deep dive is Stacy. They did release their album, younglove.com, I think is what it's officially called.
Cute.
I love the aesthetic for the Run to You video. And I like that with Stacy, we're watching their mature, like, progression, their growth.
I always loved watching that too.
Because we had ASAP, and then we had Stereotype.
Yeah.
And now we're having Run to You with their titles. We're seeing their growth.
Right.
So I will say 24/7, Young Love, and Butterfly are more easy listening tracks on the album. I liked them. Not bad. Run to You is funky, a little weird, had a good flow though. Despite little odd beats and instrumentals that the song has.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my favorite track. Kind of along the line of Billy.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy how talented they are. And I will say that, in particularly in Run to You, they sounded a little bit like aespa.
Oh, interesting.
Vocally.
Interesting.
Same. Has a brighter beat, brighter vocals, has a more pleasing rhythm to me. I Want You Baby, R&B vibes.
You have my attention.
Yes. Really loved that song.
Okay.
It actually might be my favorite song on the album.
Okay.
And it's the last song on the album.
Oh, okay.
And it's funny because I was listening to it, I was like, oh, okay. Not bad. Like, kind of like a meh album to me.
Right. It hasn't won you entirely over yet.
Right. And then I hit that last song and I was like,
oh, hello.
Oh, there
what
she
a little
is.
Delight.
I think I Want You Baby was my favorite song. Though I'm always excited to see Stacey's progression. I have Stereotype. I loved that album. ASAP is one I might want to get at some point just because I really love ASAP. This album I probably wouldn't purchase.
Yeah.
And then some honorable mentions. I did want to mention A Pink. Loved Horn. Horn was a great album. Nothing, Single Rider, Trip, Dream, My Oh My, and Dilemma were my favorite songs. Vives, I can't pronounce the fucking title. I don't know how it works. Vives.
Girl, I don't know.
I can't pronounce anything ever.
You talk better than I do, so.
Their Beam of Prism album, which is also their debut. This is the group that was once G-Friend.
Right.
Tweet Tweet was my favorite song on their album.
Tweet, that's funny.
And then Davida dropped her album, American Gothic.
Ooh.
She sings primarily in English. She throws in some Korean and has a Korean track, or Korean version of Bonnie and Clyde.
Ooh.
So I liked both English and Korean versions of Bonnie and Clyde. I liked Superstar, Pine, and her rap and Cheese in the Trap. So those are my honorable mentions for February.
Okay.
Sorry that one was so long, y'all. February was really a heavy month.
And then that brings us to what's coming up in March.
Sure is.
Because there's a lot coming up in March. I'm actually not prepared physically for a lot of what we're going to be doing in March, to be honest.
There's a lot coming up in March.
We're going to do it live. It's cool. That is... If there was a phrase I would put on my tombstone, fuck it, we're doing it live. That's the story of my life.
So what in particular are you excited about the most in March? Comeback-wise or anything?
Yeah, well, I'm very excited for our concerts. I'm very excited to continue doing more for this channel.
Same.
In terms of comeback, though, 17 and Ordinary by Stray Kids.
Yes.
Yeah, those are two groups that you're going to hear us frequently talk about. So if you don't like them, first of all, I'm sorry about your taste, but I don't know what else to tell you. I said what I said. I said what I said.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm not, but...
Sorry, not sorry.
I will die on this hill. Fine. No, but for real, those are the two comebacks I'm most excited for. But I'm also very excited for Solar.
So am I.
I am excited for Red Velvet. And I'm also excited for G-Idol because I've been wanting to listen to them more and more. So
Yeah.
I know that we're going to be checking out a lot of these comebacks as well, real time. And so, boy howdy. I'm excited.
I'm excited for Oh My Girl. They have a rumored comeback, I believe. And then I'm excited for Adora. She has hers. She was the one of the producers for BTS.
Ooh.
She's now turned idol.
Good for her.
So
okay, well, I'm automatically ready to support. Good for you, girl.
Yeah, I think it's... I don't think it's I lied. It is a pre-release digital single, which means she's gearing up for an album at some point soon.
I really love when these, like, industry, not necessarily insiders, but these people who have been in the industry for a long time finally come out with their own stuff.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of Western artists that I can think of that's really similar to that, Sia. Because she was a songwriter for years, for so many different concepts and songs and albums and groups and people you would not expect.
Yeah.
And then she finally came out and shocked everyone with her talent and voice and stuff. And
yeah. And then, of course, I'm excited for Weekly, just because, especially because Weekly's newest comeback.
Oh my god, those concepts were gorgeous.
Yeah, the concept
they were gorgeous.
Seems very mature for them. And I'm excited to see what that looks like, or sounds like, shall I say.
Right. What does a mature concept from Weekly entail?
Exactly. So I'm excited to see that. So what, as we sign off, what is your recommendation?
And it doesn't have to just be from...
It can be anything and everything.
You know what? I'm just going to start off with Begin by BTS.
Yes.
Jungkook solo. That is...
Wings.
That is such a good song. I can't explain to you how much I love that song or how emotional that song makes me. It's gorgeous.
I agree.
Jungkook is known as being a lead vocalist and just having an amazing voice for a reason.
Yeah.
If you have not checked it out, do yourself a favor and check it out.
He's actually the main vocalist. I just don't want you to get flamed.
Oh, thank you. I still do not understand the difference between main or lead. Yeah, that... I'm sure I'll figure that at some point. No, I won't. But I don't have that much faith in myself. But yes, thank you for protecting me from the ever vigilant fans. Yes. I get it, you guys. But yeah, don't hate on me. I'm just stupid. I'm just a moron.
You're not stupid.
I'm just a girl, and it's actually 3 raccoons in a trench coat.
Jesus.
What's your recommendation, babe?
Actually, why don't we do a live rec and you give me...
like the kind of energy that I want, and then you give me a recommendation based off that? Alright, let's do it. You got a recommendation that's 80s new wave sounding? I actually thought of just one. But I want to see what you think of first. You're like, go fuck yourself.
80s new wave.
Well, okay, and I also interpret new wave maybe a little loosely. To me, that's anything that just kind of like experiments with the sounds.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily 80s.
That's fine. We'll just do like new wave or anything experimental.
I was going to say, or maybe retro.
Yeah, always down for retro.
I was going to say, because the first thing that came to mind was Mago by G-Friend.
Ooh, you sent me that one.
I love Mago.
That one I listened to the last time I asked for retro vibes.
Yeah, I love Mago. And I think it's because I've been craving that song.
Nice. Well, there we go.
So that's my rec, is Mago by G Friend. Also, the music video is great, because we love a pole dancing queen.
Hell yeah.
So, those are our recs until next month. And I think that'll do for this one.
Yeah. I talked longer than I thought I was going to be quite honest with you.
So, until next time, guys, we'll see you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.